Well, it's been a long time coming, a very long time coming. So you know what? Let's just skip all this preamble. We're just gonna jump straight into it. Apparently the video's been delayed. What is it? Who are you? Apparently this delay is brought to you by NordVPN. You can use the links in my description to sign up for NordVPN and NordPass. So I've been playing a lot of Bloodlines too. And as a channel, I wouldn't call myself a World of Darkness YouTuber. However, that's like all I've been covering. So I don't think I get a say in that. But I have a lot of thoughts, and thoughts that kind of obligated to share. Though first, before we get into all of this, I have a few things I want to drop in. First, I'm not like a game reviewer. I just play shit that I think is fun. My only really expertise when it comes to media criticism is the stuff I do on this channel and my own film education background. The other thing, I am going to do my absolute best to not compare this game to Bloodlines 1 because I think there's a lot of merit in approaching a product as a core thing. And on that same lens, I'm not going to get into the history of this game's development, the many different studio changes, the old versions of the game that got completely remade. Not the point of this. Because I think if the Chinese room devs had a full say, I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to remove the title of Bloodlines from this game. And it's hard for me to add a game critique to the title. The only difference is if I loaded up a game, a full $60 game on Steam, and the gameplay was the title menu, and that's all I had, then I'd be like, I don't know if this should be called Bloodlines. Like, if the game title was called Vampire the Masquerade Nomad, it wouldn't change the core experience. Bloodlines 1 is a fantastic game, a game I would call very flawed. I love it a lot. I've played through this game 3 times, like fully. This is the part I'd show Steam hours, but I can't because you need to have a mod to even start the video game. Bloodlines 1 is a fantastic story. I personally think it is one of the strongest narrative experiences I've had in a video game, especially an RPG. The gameplay is rough, very rough. I think the ending of Bloodlines 1, like the entire final act, is an absolute pain to go through because the combat sucks. Because the game is at its best when you're in the narrative, which is really good, and then it throws you into like 5 combat arenas back to back to back, and it sucks. I say all of that loving Bloodlines. But yeah, I'm going to be completely judging this game based on itself as a standalone core product. And the footage behind me, just in case, this is from like early parts of the game, right before like the main events start happening and you become the Sheriff of Seattle, which happens in like the first couple hours. So no spoilers in the background, don't worry. I also recorded this myself, so it's a little apologies. This game doesn't play super well. It needs some fixes. I actually did like 2 playthroughs of this game. The only thing, I restarted one of them because I tested the game out first right when it dropped as Banu Hakim, one of my favorite clans. A clan that was promised to turn the game into a Dishonored-like stealth game, and it doesn't do that. I'll get into that much later. But Banu Hakim, they did my boys dirty. So instead I went La Sombra and played Mr. World of Darkness Wide. What an awful fate to be turned into a bald vampire. I can make this joke because I am balding. In 5 years of this channel, you'll see, bald. And I haven't finished the game yet. According to like a list of all the story missions, I'm halfway done. I am very slowly piecing my way through for more reasons I'll get to. But what do we actually have here? Bloodlines 2 is a very linear action game masquerading as an open world experience. It is set in Seattle. Seattle, a city I kind of sort of hail from. I grew up on that body of water. I grew up on the Puget Sound. So technically I can claim I'm from Seattle. It's New York City rules. I have been to Seattle quite a lot. And I can also say, this is not fucking Seattle. Not at all. There are no landmarks except for one. You can see the Seattle Ferris wheel, which indicates that the game actually takes place like right next to the ferry. A place very specifically I have been every time I've gone to Seattle. It's like the part I'm the most familiar with. What it does do actually really well here is create a really fun atmosphere. There's a reason you probably heard that hundreds of times for people reviewing the game. It does actually feel like gloomy winter Seattle. And at the very least, citizens not interacting with you is accurate to Seattle as well. I say all this because I don't understand why the game is an open world at all. All it really does is increase the time between missions and objectives, because there's nothing to explore. There's like a handful of collectibles that largely don't do much at all, and the only actual events that occur are these blood resonance events, where this is a way you can level up all your abilities and gain new powers. You go around, you find people who are horny, sad, or angry, and you drink them. The gameplay is you go up, talk to them, go to somewhere quiet and like unseen and drink their blood. The other thing is fights, and the rooftops are just full of like anarchs and ghouls. Like there's a combat encounter sometimes, like every rooftop. It is insane. These fights, all they do is build up XP. You don't get any other rewards from doing this. And a lot of the objectives are like go here, go there, go back, go forth. So you're just moving around the city. It's taking extra time for no reason. The only upside is that the movement of this game feels really, really good. Ignore the choppy frame rate. It does feel like really, really sick to run around because you get this vampire sprint and a glide. So you just get to run around, parkour the city, and it feels good. And like the gameplay itself, it works, it's functional. Highlight of it is definitely the discipline powers, which range from really fun and kind of good, really busted, to dog water. There's one for celerity called Blink, which is like a Dishonored level teleport. Clan Toreador has a lot of abilities to make movement better. Personally, I think that the La Sombra teleport is better because La Sombra teleport is like a 2 recharge, and I get to instantly teleport behind someone and drink their blood, regaining one of them. It's really good for stealth kills, which is really funny because Banu Hakim was the stealth clan. I played La Sombra, so the kit I got was really fucking good, actually. It's really nuts. The passive lets me, every time I drink somebody right after for a period of time, I am basically unseeable, unless I stand up and run around. The capstone passive means that no one can melee me while I'm drinking. They can still shoot me. I have a shadow grab, I have a shadow realm teleport, and one that makes people scared. This is the only ability I took away. The terrify ability is kind of weird. It's meant to incapacitate one person, and a lot of times they just run for you and attack you anyways. I replaced that with the Tremere Blood Boil. This combo works really well because there's another fun interaction where I send people to the Shadow Realm, the Abyss, and then I Arms of Ahriman to grab them. I then immediately exit my Shadow Realm and everyone's dead, basically. There are so many mini bosses, big encounters, or just huge clumps of enemies I have insta-killed with this combo. It's a little bit blood heavy, but I can take out an entire like group of tough enemies one shot, which is the fun bit, going back to the residence thing. So that's how you get your powers. You have clan contacts that you go around, you get these resonances, and you can level up and actually get other discipline powers. Why would you want that if your kit is just really good? You pick the clan because that's the gameplay you're opting into. If you spend a lot of time on this screen, you can actually get everything. I don't know why you would become an omni-vampire, but you can. I just straight up ignored all of the resident stuff after I got the Tremere Blood Boil because I have no reason to ever change. The combat itself is just kind of weird and a little wonky because like as I'm doing these funny little hand signs as my punches, it doesn't fully show in video, but there's like a lot of times my attack input has been eaten. Like I move, I dodge, I do something, my character has his hands up in a weird ass way. So I don't actually have any form of feedback that my power attack has been eaten and gone. I play a lot of action games, as really obvious by my profile picture. So this isn't just like cope that I'm bad at the combat. It just feels a little weird. It doesn't flow all the time, but then sometimes it works really well. And you're gonna have to get used to it because stealth is kind of a joke. I also love stealth games. I'm a big fan. One of my favorites is Dishonored. So when they said Banu Hakim is just playing Dishonored, I got super excited. And their passive is garbage, by the way. It makes you silent. It's useless in this stealth system. This is actually the one thing I am really annoyed about this game with. I'm gonna be very negative throughout this video. I don't feel fully that negative about this game. This is the one part that does actually piss me off. So in the stealth system of this game, it is pure line of sight. If you run around, you jump too much, you make noise, sure, it's gonna alert everyone around you and they instantly know where you are. So drinking someone's blood, turning quiet fully with the Banu Hakim ability, it's kind of fucking useless because they can still see me. And the entire system works with NPC line of sight like cones. If you are in an NPC line of sight within a certain amount of distance, it will start to fill. It does not matter if you are mostly covered by like a box, a car, whatever. The arenas are not built for stealth at all, but if you manage to find some slip of cover, you're going to get seen if a part of your model is like out. which is why Lasombra is way better at stealth. I drink somebody, I basically become invisible, I keep doing it. I can do a lot more shit because why would I ever stand? Why do I need to stand to do my stealth? They're gonna see me better if I stand. So it really doesn't matter how good you get at this bare bones stealth system, you are going to eventually be made to fight. And that is a big thing with this game. It is a linear experience, not just like with its actual story. Sure, you can do some objectives and some missions whenever you want. You can do some side quests that are nothing. All the side quests are basically like repeatable tasks you must do. Deliver the thing, kill the guy, kill the group of guys. There's no like side quest chains or anything like that. But every mission is super linear. Something that hits interesting when they said this game was an immersive sim-like game, a genre that is known for being able to approach problems however you want. There's a moment where I was chasing after Benny Muldoon, and I actually kind of think he's fun. And there's this moment in my gameplay where I've done this before. I did this as Banu Hakim. I'm going to this wall confused as all hell because why is it shut? Why is it closed? Well, I didn't go to the front door. So I have to go to the front door, trigger that, and then I come back and boom, it's open. The quests and like actual game design is linear because stealth is a thing, but really stealth exists so you can not do fighting or doing fighting as much because you'll get clumped. So you do stealth specifically so there's less enemies to deal with. A stealth system, I'm not a fan of. I don't like it when stealth in a game is a method to ignore mechanics of the game. I do it because I like stealth games, and perfect stealthing is really fun. And there's a lot of moments where you don't have a choice. You are gonna be getting into a fight, so you have to get good at this system that just functions. It's not fantastic, it just works. And like, this isn't an RPG, so there really isn't variance in like the melee system. It's not an RPG at all in the way too, that essentially, if you deem it so, all of your progression is done in the first couple hours. The moment you're made sheriff of Seattle, which is like, if you're goofing a little, it can take like 2 hours. After that point, you can just have all your powers, you have all your shit, you're at full strength basically, and you have no reason to ever go upgrade your abilities. You can just go through the entire story, like it is a linear experience. The only breakup in this actual gameplay is the moments where you play as the Malkavian Fabian, who lives in your head. A character I was really apprehensive of when I saw the trailers, because I have a personal thing where I think a lot of games, especially nowadays, don't know when to shut the fuck up. It's the God of War Ragnarok thing where it feels like you have 5 seconds to immediately solve a puzzle or Atreus just tells you the answer. I hate that. It is a huge pet peeve of mine. Fabian doesn't hit like that. Fabian is actually a really fun character. I like him a lot. Like a noir kind of crazy detective in your head is really fun. And in between like a lot of story missions, you go back to bed and you play through his memories. Memory of the nights before you killed him. The reason he's in your head is because you Diablerized him. That's again revealed like in the first hour of the game, not a spoiler. And then other flashbacks to like 1910. These moments are even more linear because you are going place to place and all you're doing is talking. These should be moments that are like really fun because it is the dialogue system that they've amped up. The dialogue system that they amped up about like characters reacting to you properly. In practice, it's really picking which of the 4 options will make the character happy. And Fabian gets to solve a bunch of little murder mysteries. It sets up an actually kind of interesting murder mystery. A fun plot I do want to know the answer to, but they're linear. I'm not investigating anything. I'm picking the right dialogue options, mainly exhausting all of them, going to a quest marker, and Fabian's doing it for me. You also get the Malkavian powers, but you're not allowed to freely really use them. There's a lot of moments where Fabian's just like, I don't want to do that. I'm not using that power, why would I? So in reality, the Fabian moments are like really boring and like really long. This would be honestly a sick moment because this is taking place like right before Fire got involved in the story. So it could be really sick if your investigations as Fabian were open and then your nights as Fire were impacted by Fabian. Like if you fuck up the investigation real bad, maybe Fire has less leads to work on, has to do some other options. Give me some branching pathways. There are 6 endings to this game that I know of, and most of those endings happen based on what you do in the last like mission, which I also can't say is a full criticism because Bloodlines 1 did kind of the same thing. The only part of the complaint is that this is the year 2025. So like the Fire and Fabian gameplay don't really interact at all. There's actually only a single moment I kind of got that. And that is there's a mission where you have to sneak into a police station. The police station that Fabian worked at. You sneak in there because you're trying to get a funny little black book. This is where the stealth system comes to shine because it sucks. There's like no cover. This place is meant to be stealth through. No vampire powers, no aggressive actions, no good stealth gameplay. And this is a moment where you're like, ah, yeah, I've been through this police station a bunch as Fabian. So I know where everything is. And Fabian's guiding you in your head. And nothing happens with that. There is nothing you can do to play this section better other than listen to Fabian and what he tells you to do. This also hits when it comes to like roleplay potential, because I already knew from the get-go I was not going to be playing my own person. And I'm actually totally fine with that. It is actually not a big deal for me to play a set character or have a create a character. I genuinely do not care what type of character creation a game gives me, as long as the game is fun. It's a criticism of game stuff that I just straight up cannot comprehend. It's the same thing of like, oh, a game has a female protagonist, I don't want to play as a woman. I personally cannot understand that opinion. And the way I approach games with a set character, but there's like dialogue variants, is like, okay, I'm going to come up with like a version of this person I'm going to play. Actually, a really fun example, Dispatch. Dispatch is really fun. I don't throw this around like super lightly. I think this game is funny. It's like the best of Telltale games with like a fun cast and actually like a really fun writing style. But like the protag you play as in this game, Aaron Paul, Robert, you actually have like a handful of ways you can interpret him through dialogue. He's a superhero down in his luck. Is he like a jaded dickhead? Is he someone who like genuinely is just at the worst point of his life, finally being able to do good again? Is he a quippy kind of asshole with a heart of gold? There's like a good few ways you can interpret the character. Fire, not really, not anything effective. I went into this playing a Lasombra. I wanted to play up the old Sabat Lasombra alliance going on. I wanted to really play up the fact that Lasombra only recently are part of the Camarilla. So I approached the game by being a dick to everybody. And the part I also like about Lasombra, my second favorite clan, is that they're kind of terrifying. And what I got for that was a lot of NPCs going, okay, buddy, sure. When I picked like the aggressive options, the intimidating options, there's like only like 2 characters who are somewhat intimidated by fire, an Elder Vampire. Sure, a weaker one, but I've just been cleaving through the entire city, drop kicking people off of rooftops. I've killed, at the point of the story where I was really doing this, like 2 full vampires. So I didn't get to play it up at all. In fact, like picking your clan, all it really does is do a handful of references. Characters are like, ahaha, darkness, shadow. I've had like 2 moments where the actual Lasombra clan contact, I forget her name, she's just kind of there. She mentions, oh, it must be a surprise to be part of the Camarilla. Bet you liked the Sabat, huh, asshole? It's like, shit, I wanted to. But Fire immediately is like, the Sabat, ugh, I hate them. Though it makes sense he wouldn't, because based on the timeline the game actually gives you, that means Fire is turned in the 1600s. So a bit after like the Sabat became a thing in like the Anarch Revolt and blah, 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 WAD lore. It's disappointing. It's actually like kind of disappointing that me being Clan Lasombra did nothing story-wise. Same with Banu Hakim, by the way. All they did were like Banu Hakim, assassins, oh, they're super loyal and like judgy. Though like for the story and the characters inside of it, I actually kind of like the stories and some of the characters. Mainly the characters I don't like, I don't even hate. They're characters I'm just like, yeah, they exist, I guess. Like the little Sombra girl, it's like, she exists. Like, I like Lou Grand, I think she's really fun. She plays like an older Ventrue really well. I think Trolley is fun. I like Nico, the Banu Hakim rep, I think he's really cool. I think Fletcher is also fun. His like vampire bar is kind of sick, but everyone else is just kind of there. But by the way, also, there's romance in this game. There's not like interesting mechanics or dialogue around that. You essentially, every time you do a side quest, you click the flirt button. That's not even like flirt associated with the conversation you're having. You just hit a flirt button that's like, I want to fuck, but not actually fuck because I'm a vampire, but you get what I mean. You just press a button every once in a while, which I also find really weird because like a character you can't romance, Saphira, she's a Tremere. She just at some point in the story started calling me love like we were in a relationship, which like, no, man. I was just nice to her. I was just nice to her because like she's a little fun of a character. And also I was like, you know, my Fire's manipulating her. He's gonna double cross everyone at the end of the game if I'm allowed to do that. I don't know. I've never really also cared for romance mechanics. The only game I ever really did that with was Baldur's Gate 3, but that's because like side quests and there were fun companion stories. I don't like the romance button. But the game does set up a story that I find interesting. Like, I want to know fully what's the deal with Fire's mark. Why is Fabian in your head? Later on, you learn the Sabat are involved. Okay, what are they fully doing? Who's this murderer back from the 20s that seemingly has come back? Like, what's going on there? I want to know the answers, actually really bad. If anything, I have like one story critique, and that is part of the setup with you being the sheriff. At the beginning of the game, you break out of your coffin, you kill 2 security guards. And then after that, police come through, you fight through some ghouls, and eventually you get out. This is treated as like a serious Masquerade violation that you did and have to make up for it. Are you fucking kidding me? Specifically at the beginning setup, those ghouls were actually like killing cops. So you could just wipe it under the blanket like, ah, yeah, no, the ghouls did that. It's a weird element of gang violence. That's how you immediately brush that off. Sure, there's a guy that's drained, the dude who got punched into a wall, but like, get some cleaners in there. I say this is ridiculous only because I have spent so many hours of this game drop kicking anarchs off of rooftops. In another part, I mentioned the Benny Muldoon mission where you're like hunting him down. The way you track him is by the corpses he is leaving across rooftops. That feels like a bigger Masquerade violation. Sure, I'm hunting him down, but how are they gonna do that? The one that's the most egregious, which is again, you were clearing because it's a Masquerade violation. You go into a nightclub and the nightclub is filled with corpses, like filled. I am talking the ground itself is a carpet of bodies. I would say it is a fair estimate that there are over 1,000 bodies here. How in the fuck are they covering that up? I understand that you want to make your vampire stuff really sick. And I think there's an element where you have to suspend your disbelief because like, I'm gonna have the cool action set pieces to make the game fun, but this wouldn't really fly like the tabletop game if we were playing super strict to the Masquerade rules. I feel like Seattle having to cover up the fact that thousands of people just died in a nightclub is insane. I don't know how in the fuck you justify that. This is actually the part I will compare it to Bloodlines 1, because I think there is a power in having restraint. A lot of the missions, when you're set up to do them, are told, here's how you should do this, and we have ways of covering this up. Early on, a lot of your missions are stealth missions where you're told explicitly, don't kill anyone. Like, those are cops. Those are security guards. We don't want to deal with the Masquerade issue of this. The first mission you get where you have to blow up a bunch of Sabbat, you're blowing up the warehouse, so then there's not evidence that you went through killing vampires. I think there's power in restraint, and the game doesn't really do that. I'm being negative here, but I do think like it's fine. I think the story is fun. It's a story I will complete, just slowly. I've been playing like 2 story missions a day basically after some point, because it's really hard to like play through some of the missions and then be like, yeah, let me do another. I've been jumping to Power Wash Sim 2, a game that is like already I'm loving. I love Power Wash Sim. Like alongside the story, there's also like fun pulls for the lore. Like for example, there's a lot of mentions of the Black Hand of the Sabbat. There's Gehenna is brought up a good few times. Like this game is a really good introduction to World of Darkness, like VtM. It teaches you everything. A reason I like Lou Grand is because she is a older vampire going through the beckoning. She's showing what the beckoning looks like. She literally enters like prophecy level fugue states. It sucks for her. But it's interesting, she mentions Gehenna, a thing that is kind of dropped from prominence when it comes to 5th edition Vampire, so they're fun pulls. Essentially, there's enough that I will continue to play the game, just not quickly. There's nothing really pulling me to want to play it constantly. So not to pull like an IGN here, but I think honestly the game is like a 6 or 7 out of 10. I would probably land more 6 out of 10. The game's fine, too much water, I guess. My honest recommendation is that if you like Vampire the Masquerade, if you like vampires, you like Vampire the Masquerade, that's the only reason I would say you should get this game. Because if you're not a fan of either of those things, I don't think there's anything here pulling you to keep playing. It is a game that is deeply flawed and makes a lot of weird choices for things. Even then, I also don't think you should buy this at full price. This game would go hard at 15 bucks, maybe 10. Wait, if you haven't bought it already, just wait for it to go on sale. I think this would be sick if it had a Cyberpunk 2077 full turnaround, because I think this game is the product of a really nasty dev cycle and devs over-promising things. So yeah, just wait. Like personally, I'm not gonna rush to play this, and I'm also not gonna rush to get the DLC when it drops. I hope in like a few years time I get to eat those words. But yeah, that's gonna be it. So first I wanna give a huge shout out to my channel members who make all these videos possible. Super appreciative. And a huge shout out to my top tier channel members, that being Lucky Finds 23, Pork Chomp, and Czar Shadow. Thank you all so much, it means the world. But yeah, other than that, subscribe, like, share, comment, tell me your thoughts on Bloodlines.